Peace, fam. This is Gold Miner Brooks, and you're tuning in to Gold Miners Media Presents. We are live with.
Good to see you. Great to see you. Here we have a friend of mine, TISH CARDOVA. Really amazing artist, fashion, intelligent, wise, businesswoman, business savvy. Let me tell it. All that and then some. And once again, a really good friend. How have you been doing?
Doing good, working hard. Working hard during this winter in New York.
Oh yeah, that's why I keep telling my homies out here, like wintertime in New York, that's like hustle season. That's where you working non-stop, And you were saying earlier that you work for a Jewish firm.
Yeah, Jewish real estate firm.
So today you got off because it's the Sabbath, but you're still working low key.
Try to like work the clients that I'm working with. Be like, yeah, send this cash money order so you can start moving in.
I got a bunch of questions for you. You know what I'm saying? Because like I was saying earlier, I just started my real estate classes last night, and you are a real estate agent. How many years have you been doing it?
3.
3 years.
3 years, yeah.
So you a veteran damn near.
4 years, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, you got the expertise down pat. So I got a lot to ask you. But before we start, I would just like to say thank you so much for doing this. This is like really, I don't take this for granted. I don't take my friends for granted. And once again, I'm blessed to have a lot of talented people around me, a lot of great minds around me, and that's what this Gold Miners Media thing is about. It's about giving y'all the exposure, giving y'all the credit, and just putting that spotlight on y'all. Y'all are some amazing people. So
I feel the same way about you, Brooks.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Tish. Tell us, your origin, where you from, and
So my real name is Anna Patricia Cordova. So that's where Tish came from, was my middle name. So I'm from Brooklyn, Flatbush. And I've been painting since I was 12, on and off. So I'm really talented, apparently, according to other people. So it's really nice to hear that feedback. Right now I'm living in Bed-Stuy, which is pretty cool.
You in Bed-Stuy, do or die. How's it living?
It's really nice. I love Bed-Stuy.
Really, it's really nice, huh? I could only imagine, because when I was growing up, it was like.
You lived in Bed-Stuy?
Huh?
Did you live in
Bed-Stuy? I was in Crown Heights, so I was in the middle. So Bed-Stuy is like right above, and then you got Brownsville over there, Flatbush to the west, and then the whole Prospect Park area to the east. And Bed-Stuy and Brownsville were like the no-go areas because a lot of activity out there when I was growing up, so say the least. So it's good to hear that it got a turnaround at least. You know what I'm saying? That's the home of Biggie Smalls. That's the home of Jay-Z. For those that don't know, Marcy Projects and all that.
Every time I walk out or like not listening to music, I hear Biggie Smalls being blasted on the streets of Bed-Stuy.
Hey,
yeah.
he cemented his legacy for sure. You know what I'm saying? That's Biggie Small land. You know what I mean?
I know.
You hear Bed-Stuy is Biggie Small. So
Got that big and small swag.
yes. So you mentioned that you are an artist. I just want to say one thing that I admired about you was your vision and your ability to capture moments, whether it was through your paintings or through your pictures that you would take with your camera and stuff like that. You had I remember you used to, I don't know if you still do it, but you used to do like the subway monsters or the subway creatures.
Okay,
And, and yeah, and then like you had this one photo where I think I was in Central Park and I was like fishing out there. I don't know what you could
you were
fish.
drinking. You were just chilling.
Chilling that bottle of water, and you like drew a monster, like with his tentacle wrapped around my shoulder, like
Stealing a
cool
drink.
shit, some cool shit. So yeah, and then you know, you got a savvy ear too for the music. That's one thing that we always um shared a liking to. Like we were always into the same type of music and making beats and all of that stuff. You know what I'm
And
saying? Being in the studio making beats.
I don't do that no more. I mean, I do on GarageBand, but like I just loop stuff now.
Hey, I mean, you still doing it though. You know, you still finding ways to be creative. You know,
I write little
uh,
lyrics.
hey, they not little. Stop it. Stop it.
I write little ones, and I was just like, this is fun.
Yeah, I mean, you finding ways to be creative, and that's one thing that I always admired about you. You were always like finding ways to be creative, finding ways to utilize your talent, and yeah, I just appreciate that about you. So, let the people know what you do. What is your job? What's your work?
I'm a real estate agent. I sell rentals. I don't do commercials. So rentals are pretty quick to sell. So you could probably make like 3K, 2K, maybe like like each week or every other week. Depends on how much time you put into your job. It's a really easy field if you put all your time and energy into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's very competitive too because you have open listings. So open listings meaning that other like real estate agencies can show the apartment. And so it's like harder to kind of get it like rent it out because you have other people in different areas of Brooklyn showing that same unit. Or there's other people in the same neighborhood showing that same unit. Now, if it's an exclusive listing, meaning that like your company only shows this building, so that means agents from your company has access to this particular building. So there's less competition from outside sources. So it's really cool. It's like gambling.
Wait, you have to pay. You have to pay for the exclusive listings, right?
You have to pay for listings?
Yeah, the exclusive listings. You have to. If I was a brokerage firm, I would have to pay to have these listings exclusive. Like, how do you get exclusive?
Separately? That's a different like avenue when it comes. I think I don't know for sure. Like I don't know how that works, but I think if you bring a listing over, they charge you a certain percentage, or you are being charged a certain percentage. They get basically most brokers get half of the OP, and then you get a certain percentage from that half.
What is OP?
I don't know what initially means, but the OP meaning that like what you get paid off. So let's say like there's an apartment and the management is called like Sunnyside Management, right? Now Sunnyside Management has a building on like Kosciuszko. Now the address is like 255 Kosciuszko. And there's like a unit there that's available and it's like 4,300. Now the management itself does 60%, let's say. 60% is usually the lowest, and then you have like 75%. So let's say like you're getting 60% half, you're getting 60% out of the half from that part of the commission. So the way landlords do it is that, let's say, let me whip out my calculator real quick.
You gonna break out the math on it?
I'm really bad at math. So let's say 4,300, right? So that's 4,300 times 60. Mm-hmm. So that comes out to 2,580. Now you and the landlord, like the broker and the landlord, have to split that. So you put divided by 2. Now the landlord takes that 1,290, and the firm has to give your percentage out of the half. So the management took its 1,290, and then the agency took its 1,290. Now I have to give you your proportion, your percentage. So my percentage was 660, right? I get 774 back. So that's my commission.
Okay. Oh.
So the OP is usually like how much you would get, like the percentage of how much you would get paid. I don't know the definition of the OP. I just didn't really care to know. I'm just like, all right, that works.
You hustling.
Yeah, so imagine like renting out like 3 apartments in 1 week. Then your commission can come out to maybe 2K, 1K.
Okay. How did you get into real estate?
How did I get into real estate? I got into
becoming a real estate agent, excuse me.
Because I finished college, right? And I got a degree on speech communications. So at the time, I was done with school. I was thinking of going to an art school, but I was still like thinking about it, and I haven't worked on my portfolio. So I was like working at a cafe. But I hated my job. And then I thought about like art, and I'm like, I don't know if art can like support me because I'm a painter. Like that's like a really hard like shot to put out, especially when you have no connections, like you're fresh off the boat. So I thought that was very risky for me. So during those times of like Kingsborough, because that's the community college I went to, I will like search like how to be rich, or like how to like basically be rich, like that's it. And I will look at all these millionaires, and they just kept saying like real estate, like you have to do real estate, and this is how I did my thing. It's that by doing real estate. I'm just like, okay. And then going back to where I was just done with school, and it was like winter, and I was working at a cafe, and I hated it, and I was like sleeping, and I was just like, what can I do with my degree? Like I do speech communications. So I thought about it, and I was like, I had an epiphany, and I was like, I should just do real estate, because that's like basically what my major is, to talk to people, and you're selling stuff. So what I did that night, I went on Indeed.com and tried to find like a place to be interviewed. And I found like a company that like answered me, and they were like, yeah, like what can you come in? And I came in that day, and I just had my resume, and I didn't really have like clothes to wear for the interview. Like I wore like beat down shoes. It was really bad. But I went in the interview, and there was a lady, like she was a broker. Like I never seen like a female broker before, but this was in the city on 28th Street. I was like right across the street from the art train. So I went there. I think we met in the elevator, but anyways, so like first thing she said to me when I stepped in her office, she was like, oh, was that you in the elevator? And I was like, yeah. And that's all she said. She asked me, the first thing she said, I think, was like, do you have a license? And I was like, no. Have you tried the classes? I was like, no. So I didn't know what I was doing. I just like, just went in for this interview because I wanted to be a real estate agent. And so she basically told me what to do. She was like, take some classes either online or in person, and then get your real estate license. And after that's done, come back to me. So I was like going through it, right? Now, I didn't get my classes. So I followed this real estate firm called Gypsy Housing. They do room shares. So I followed them on Facebook, and then I followed them on Instagram. Now, after that interview, I was like, damn, like, do this, whatever. Like, I wanted the easy way in, and I got my wish. I saw that Gypsy Housing was looking for agents without license. So I like messaged them on Instagram, and they're like, oh yeah, like come in this day, blah, blah, blah. I came in. Before I came in, I like hit up a friend of mine, and he kind of interviewed me and like gave me some pointers, and it worked because that day that I got interviewed, I got the job. The broker liked me. She told me to start the next day. So I quit my job. She was like, I need you full time. So I started off as like renting out rooms, but it was really bad. Like the broker itself is bad. The broker himself was bad. So it was like, and I was posting apartments on Facebook, and I was like renting out these rooms. I didn't make a lot of money. I made like maybe like out of a year in my company, maybe like I worked 6 months. I made like $3,000. And that wasn't a lot. Like I also had like another part-time job just to keep me like stable financially. And then I went to MySpace, and then they were like, all right, we want you to get your license. So I was in the training department for like a month. So I started in Gypsy Housing in December. I think it was like 2017 or 2018. And they fired me in May because I wasn't selling any, like I wasn't showing progress. And they can't fire you because you have a 1099. Like you're your own business. Yeah, you're your own business, but I didn't have a license. So they fired me, and because I didn't show up to the meeting, and also because the broker got a new office with like new MacBook computers. So I think he was like already like broke by that time.
Oh.
There was a lot going on. Like he fired everybody. It was weird. Like he was hiring new agents. It was awful. Like people got fired, people left. It was like crazy drama. So I went to MySpace. I got a job there. Like I was already experienced. So they were like, all right, she's experienced. Like you got the job. Like it was very easy. And I was in the learning department. That took a month. And then they were like, all right, like after a month of like training, I had 2 weeks to get my license because there was like, if you don't get your license in 2 weeks, you're suspended. So I got suspended. I only made like maybe like $800 of like my first time being there. And then like a whole month, right? So that's June, July. So maybe it was like 2 months in. And then I was suspended in September. And then I did my online classes. And then once I did my online classes, I did my real estate exam. So it took me 3 months to get to pass because at that time I was going through like, just like, cause I just moved out too. I moved out in September, and then like I broke up with somebody, and then I was like alone, and then I was like facing my mental issues with myself because I was finally alone. And then like I had problems with my boyfriend at the time. So we broke up, and I was going through a lot because I like lost my job, I think. And I had to get a new job, but I also had this like thing that I had to pass. It was like a lot of stress that I didn't know how to handle at the time. Like I was creating a lot of stress for no reason. Like I didn't have help from like a professional source. And so yeah, it took 3 months to like really sit down and study. But I had like good friends to help me, and like they were helping me out. And I had a friend of mine, Bianca. She was really helpful during the time because she would just tell me to keep taking it, and like we studied every time I failed. And then there came a time I was just like, all right, like I don't need no one's help. I think I'm fine. I'm just gonna study on my own. And so when I studied on my own that day, I did it like last night, like last minute stuff. I passed. So it took 15 tries, and I spent like about $150 every time. I mean, in total from those, because it's $15 in New York just to take the state exam.
Now you're here, and now you're successful. You know,
OP means owner's pay.
Wait, what?
That's what OP means. Owner's pay.
Owner's pay.
Yeah. So
Right.
the landlord will pay the broker's fee. This is worth 1 month of rent. So OP means owner's pay. So OP 80%, like that's what it means. Owner's pay 80%.
Sheesh. And then the rest is paid by.
The OP is what the owner pays.
All right. So, what are some things on the job that you find are hard to deal with, like, you know, stressful?
Honestly, it's a people's person's job. So I'm kind of like very timid. That's something that I have to grow and learn from, which is I'm able to achieve. So if you're not a people's person and you can't handle stress, like your broker sometimes being tough on you, because it's a very stressful job, because you have not the broker, but the broker is also talking to the owner. And then he has other tons of agents. So you get a lot of shit if you fuck up from your broker and then from the clients. So really there's stress left and right, and then yourself, you know, because yourself, you're also going through stuff in life, or you're going through just daily stuff like, oh, I have to do laundry tomorrow, or like I haven't cooked, you know, like it could be internal and external as well. So you have to find like a balance of yourself and the business, because sometimes you can lose yourself in the business, and especially in New York, it's a very fast-paced environment, so you're always on the go and you're always on the phone. So if you're quick with people and your clients and answering, then you're quick in the business. You know, because it's always moving. Like if you stop for a second, sometimes you lose a deal or you lose the person, and then they go with a different agent. So it's kind of like you're like on a marathon, but you're not seeing things going on. So
Constantly going.
Is it stressful? Yes. But you also have to find a balance between your life and your work. Because you can either do something great, like let's say like you get the apartment and ready to go, but then like the guy's like, oh, like I can't move in, or like they just won't move forward with the lease and they drop out. So it's very stressful for the broker, because then the broker has to go tell the owner, the property owner, and then the property owner is telling shit to the owner, and then to the broker, and then the broker's telling you shit. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it's not even your fault, but sometimes it is your fault at the end of the day for not being precise.
Right. It all ends with you at the end of the day.
Yeah,
because you're the one that's
selling the place.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like you really have to.
Describe your first couple weeks on the job. Describe your first couple weeks on the job.
Couple of weeks. Okay, so if you are like me, you wake up and you go. So the first thing I do is I wake up and I touch my phone. And I like either if I have a deal going, I see if everybody like submitted their pay stubs, tax returns, photo ID, all the documents that is required. And if I don't have any of those, then I'll reach out to my client and be like, hey, we're missing this. If I don't have any deals, then I would wake up and kind of go look at apartments and take a video. Or sometimes I wake up and I just go to my next showing, which mainly is like what is like average for me in the mornings. It's like I wake up, I start my day with answering my phone and emails, text and emails, and then I go to the showing. But in between those minutes, I like get up and like I sometimes try to eat and take a quick shower, or sometimes I don't eat and just leave. But if I organize my day before and make sure I sleep early, I can sometimes squeeze in going to the gym really early, then eating a meal, then going to work. But that's rare, and that's something I want to keep up. But normally I wake up, I answer, I eat, and I go, or sometimes I wake up and go. Which I have to keep in mind that this is my job. Like I can't be stressed out. Like
Right.
I'm like sacrificing my health a little bit, and I'm sacrificing my time. But I know this is not like forever. Like you got to give yourself like a time frame of how long you want to be in this business.
And you have to, I feel like you have to have a certain level of discipline as well. Do you think your discipline increased a whole lot after getting this job, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you come into it disciplined already?
No, I came in not being disciplined. And I learned as I went.
Okay.
I'm still learning. I wish I was more disciplined. Like I'm even harder on myself. I got more disciplined when I started, but I don't give myself credit for it. So I have to remember, like, hey, you're doing a lot better than you were like a year ago. You're doing a lot better than you were 2 years ago. So, but it's hard to see that because you have other people that you're working with who are also successful in this field.
Right.
So you get stuck in comparing, and I think that's that's not good, especially in this field because everybody's competitive. You know, like when you go into an environment like that, you feel the competitiveness. Sorry, I can't talk right now, but you feel that everybody's competitive when it comes to you just walking in, and sometimes you just gotta fake a smile and just be like, hey, like I'm just here to do my job and make money.
Hey, I find that to be in almost every aspect of life, just our day to day. You said that when you wake up, you touch your phone. I assume that you go on like social media or whatever, right? And you're just scrolling and whatnot.
No, I go straight to my email. But if I'm being like, if I didn't have a good day like yesterday, then I'll probably ignore my emails and go to like social media. But I actually was coaching with a female coach. I paid like $800 for like 4 sessions. And she gave me a few pointers basically because she did real estate in New York. And I saw her video on YouTube and like I reached out and then she was like, oh, I can give you coaching. It's like $800 like for 4 sessions. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And she really helped organize my day. Basically, she just said that have an hour in the morning to yourself and then have an hour at night to yourself. So I was doing that a little bit because like you're basically providing service for others and you're always doing things for others and there's no time for yourself. So she's basically saying that you got to take care of your wellness and give yourself an hour to yourself in the morning and give yourself an hour to yourself at night before you go to sleep. So that means not touching your phone once you wake up and not touching your phone before you go to bed. So I was doing really well, but I just fell off of it. I'm trying to go back into it. So in the morning, sometimes I'm just like taking the moment to understand where I'm at, mindset, wise and also like where I am emotionally. So I'm trying to be more positive every time I wake up. I'm like, like I'm grateful to have a bed. Like I'm grateful that I'm here. I'm like, I'm grateful that like at least I have something going on in my life. Like I know it sucks, but I know right now it's good. And I remind myself like I'm closing more and more apartments. There are more and more apartments that I'm closing. So like I make intentions like that for myself. Like I'm the best agent, just for me, just to like continue, like, believing in faith, like just to continue that until like I feel it, or until like, until like it gets stuck in my mind that I'm like good, that I don't really need to compare myself, that I'm like fine. And then I catch myself when I'm having shitty days. I'm like, wait, like, you gotta relax. You can't really think like that all the time because you get stuck thinking that way.
Thinking negatively.
Yeah, and sometimes that when I go to sleep, I gotta be like, "Go, you just gotta sleep," because you have to stop.
It's a lot of rewiring that you got to do, reprogramming.
Yeah,
especially. Yeah.
but you also have to be kind to yourself when you're in that process, because sometimes you don't give yourself that credit that like, hey, you're doing a lot better than you did when you were like a teenager.
Shit, even a year ago.
Or a year ago, yeah. But I have a mentor, so he helps. Like I like tell him like, hey, I'm like freaking out. Like I don't know. He's like, yo, just relax. Like you got this. Like you just gotta you taking this week off because you got sick, or you're taking this week off because things are slowing down. But when we hop back to next week, you'll start grinding again. But just relax. So it's good to have a mentor or a coach because they know the meaning of working hard. So they're there to guide you and then they're to like help you and support you. So that's like kind of like my support. So like I just tell them like, hey, I'm like freaking out. It's like, no, you're okay. You just gotta relax. And then like it's nice to have that secondary like person telling you like, hey, you got this.
How did you come across your mentor?
This was like New Year's, like 2 years ago. I lived in Gowanus, and I think that's right after I got my real estate license. I got it in December, and I wasn't really feeling good about myself because of like the breakup, and just mentally I wasn't like healthy. So like the breakup brought a lot of like past trauma and stuff that I haven't really dealt with myself. And it was like New Year's Eve, like daytime, and there was a laundromat like around the corner from the block that I lived on. So it was really easy to go to the laundry and I would just do my laundry there. And then I did my laundry that December 31st, and this old man comes up to me saying that I want a shot. And I was like, okay. And then he tells me that he owns the laundromat. And I was like, oh, I thought it was one of these ladies who own the laundromat. He's like, no, I own it. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And then he said, like, what do I do? Whatever. And I told him that, like, I just got my real estate license. And then he was like, oh, like, he owns a building, like, not far from here that he needs help renting out. And I think that's how it all started. He was just saying that he wants me to meet his son. He wants to, like, have a business meeting with me and his son. But me and the son never really met because he was always busy because he does his own real estate stuff. And he like dealt with big buildings. Like he'll rent out big buildings and like dealt with bigger shit than I did. So I just hung out with my mentor, and then like we just went out to eat, and like we went out and sometimes drink. We would just talk about business, and he would just tell me like what he did in life and like where he's at in life. And I think last year was when I was like, I really need help with my finances and where I want to be in life, because he's pretty established financially, makes a lot. He makes the 6 digits, and it's really up there. and he owns properties and houses and has like multiple businesses. So I'm like, all right, this is the right guy to ask.
Right.
So yeah, so that's what happened, and now he's my mentor. So he was my friend, and then he wanted me to work with his son, but I guess his son was too busy doing stuff that like he now is helping me, and he's not like charging me anything.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. You said something really good. Always have to always have somebody that can give you that second opinion or that wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, he's older. He's like about his 40s, 50s.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So he's not like
not trying to be creepy.
No, he's actually just trying to help others. I remember once he told me he hired a homeless man to work in his laundromat because he wanted to help him. He needed to have a job and he wanted to work.
Right. So that's beautiful. That's a beautiful soul. Yeah. I got a story about a mentor. I'll tell you off camera, but not all. Some of them just want what they want out of the situation, and if you don't get that to them, then it's kind of it just goes south or sour. So I don't know. It's a lot of weird dynamics out here in California, but yeah, I'll get into that more off camera. So that's dope. So you dropped a lot of keys on us today. You dropped persistence. That's one. You know what I'm saying? Going with your intuition and just going with your gut feeling. Developing relationships with people that are within the same field as you.
Yeah.
Seeking mentorship, but more than that, also being open to learning new ways of doing things, new approaches. You pay for the tutelage, or to be under the tutelage of, I forget her name right now, but yeah, those are like some important factors that can be applied in life in general, no matter what you're doing. You know, putting an emphasis on self-care and your mental health.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I went through that. Like, I got that same year of the breakup. Later in the summer, I signed up for seeing a therapist for PTSD. And it turns out I have PTSD. I didn't know I had PTSD. I just went in and I was like, yeah, like I called the hotline. I was like, I'm going through stuff. And then they gave me like a number. And then it turns out that it was just a facility they help like people who went through a lot in life, like traumas, like sexual assaults, physical abuse, stuff like that. So they told me I had PTSD and I was like, holy shit. And I Googled the signs of people who like symptoms or signs or whatever. And it made sense to everything I was like dealing with. And I was just like, all right. At first, when she told me, I thought she was just joking, you know? And then it took me a while to like let it sink in and be like, oh. And then I did it for 2 years. And then now I'm released. So I have like my days where I'm just like, ooh. But then I'm like, okay, I'm okay.
Like I was telling you earlier, there are levels to mental health. You know, no, for real. Like it's literally like a diet.
Yeah.
Or I don't like that word diet, but it's more commonly known. I like to use live it because we don't eat to die, we eat to live, right? Mm-hmm. So it'd be a live it, not a diet. But when you're trying to lose weight, you know, you go from one number to another, and then you have to learn how to live in that weight. So if you go from like 350 to 300, you got to learn how to live at 300. Then if you go from 300 to 250, you got to learn how to live at 250 because you're physically changing your body. it was the same thing with your mental state. Like once you get to one breakthrough, you realize, oh shit, it's a whole other breakthrough that I have to get through. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then when you get through that one, is a whole nother one. And then it just keeps going and going.
Yeah, I don't think life is like. It's like
it's not just one. It's not just one fix and then it cures all. It's like it's constantly working on yourself and developing and all of that stuff.
You know the golden ratio.
The golden ratio. No, I'm not familiar.
Okay, so I don't know much about it, but I know in the golden ratio, there's a certain ratio that's perfect, and the ratio is just a spiral. Like the picture of a ratio is basically a spiral. So it's not. It's like it just goes on. It's never ending. So it's just a spiral. So I think like life is like the golden ratio. You just spiral because you always got to learn how to love yourself even more.
Right.
You always got to learn yourself how to take care of yourself. You always got to learn how to be a better sister. Like you always have to learn how to be a better daughter. Like you always have to learn how to be a better person. Like I'm not perfect, but I'm still learning how to be a better person. Like there's things that I'm learning about myself that I'm just like, oh, I'm like still like this. And why am I like this? You know, like you just got to learn. I do a lot of like insightful work. Like I'm always thinking about how I am, which doesn't give me enough room to just be. I'm just too busy. Like, am I being like the best version of me to people? I could be the best version, but then again, it's like too much of giving. You're not allowing yourself to give that to yourself. You're giving it to people. The more you give, the less you have for yourself. So like a cup is empty. So you have to give yourself more of that attention. There has to be a balance towards everything. So yeah, life is like a spiral. So it just goes around and around and around.
Most definitely. I agree. Definitely. And because you have that knowledge, that doesn't. Some people just give up, but yeah, you don't give up on yourself. You just keep going, keep learning, keep implementing different.
I feel like it's because I'm a first generation Mexican, so it's like if I stop, then I'm like stopping. Like I wasn't out of a wealthy family, so I'm just kind of trying to make myself something. Like if I was like third generation or second, I think I'd be like, oh, like my family did this and that. Like I think I'm able to ease down, but since I'm a first generation Mexican, I feel like it's just more pressure to keep going. Not keep going, but I feel like I have to keep going. Like I can't just settle down because I don't think I like the lifestyle that my sisters have lived and my mother. So I'm just more like pushing myself. Like some days I don't want to do it, but I still do it because I don't want to be in this. Like I have like higher visual like sets of my life that I want to be in. So I guess like I haven't really relaxed. Like I haven't really, like if I was working at a restaurant, I'd be like, all right, this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to work, I don't know, as a waitress, you know? But it's like, where are you going right after that? Like, are you an actress? Are you a writer? But it's like you get so comfortable, especially I feel like people get comfortable in their jobs. Like MTA workers, like there's nothing wrong with them, but they can be comfortable with living a life like that with benefits and stuff. Like I kind of don't want to be comfortable. Like I kind of just want to keep going. And
right, and then on top of being comfortable, people also get stuck in the cycle of, you know, financial obligations, like paying bills and all of that stuff, and they don't really see another way to supplement. Like if most of those people stop working, then they don't have another way to keep it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then they feel comfortable because that's all they know.
Right.
I feel like there's a lot about just being a real estate agent and like learning this part of like society and like how much you can like thrive, because you can make a lot of money if you really put your time and effort into.
Well, what's your ultimate goal for it? Like, where do you see after this? Do you see yourself doing this for a while, or do you see yourself elevating after?
I see myself doing it for a while and elevating into like bigger and better things. Like
a broker?
No, maybe.
No.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. But I do want to own, like, I want to have like a property management.
Oh.
You know, like I was thinking like maybe I should do my own like management company and have an empire of properties. But these are really good ones. They're not shitty ones. If you know what I mean, in New York City.
Bro.
You know, and that was what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking of being a broker. I was just thinking like this is like what I want.
Right.
And that's where but first I gotta start small. Like that's the way I think. Like I think of bigger things. I don't think of my issue is I don't think about the small steps I have to take. I think about like, whoa, I want to be here, but I'm down here. So I haven't really discovered yet. I know the next thing I want to do is houses. Like sell houses in Florida. But first I have to get really good at killing it at my job and then proving myself and everybody else that, hey, like I can get deposits every day for that week and still get paid.
Right.
And I was doing that for a minute, but I had to deal with renewing my license and I got sick because I don't know, the booster and the COVID. So I had 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks not really like putting all my energy into my job, but I was doing it really good too. Like I was like boom, 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 boom. Like it's like refund right here, you know. Like I had 6 deposits, but 3 went back on the market. So there's potential, you know. There's potential to really kick ass, but you just really gotta like sacrifice hanging out. Sometimes sacrificing working out, sometimes sacrificing sleep. And I've done it all. Like I haven't hung out with anybody as much. I only talk on the phone.
Hey, look, I was just thinking about sacrificing, right? Sacrificing isn't a bad thing. When most people think of sacrifice, they think of like blood sacrifice or like, you know, the old days where they kick a virgin down a volcano or some shit, right? But like you said, like sacrifice isn't permanent, it's temporary in order to get to this level. You know what I mean? Like you sacrifice going out, or you sacrifice eating out every day, eating at a restaurant just to save a little money, or you know, you cut back on a certain way of living so that you could live better in the future. That's what it is. In the long, it's longevity. About longevity, not about right now.
I didn't know how to sacrifice. I was like, I want to do everything. I want to spend my money on a hand. I want to do all these things with people. But at the end of the day, it wasn't making me happy. The people I was hanging out wasn't really fulfilling me, even though like I had to fulfill myself. There was something about my fulfillment that was most important to just hanging out with people, because like it's like that saying, same shit, different toilet. You know, like sometimes you bump into that shit, and like you love your friends and you love your like the memories you made, but sometimes it's what you really want out of your life. And I think that's always going to be the first priority for you, because at the end of the day, like you're going to have friends who understand, or you're going to have friends who don't understand and think, but like you're just departing and like No, it's just like you kind of want to do your own thing for a minute. And the friends who understand will stay there, and the friends who don't really get it or don't understand or doesn't line up anymore, it's okay because you're growing. And I think I'm learning that now as getting older. As I've always gotten older, I feel like I always have these friends, and then like I drift off and I move on. So yeah, so like that's why like I feel like in my life I feel like I'm just always working harder because it's like I'm there, but I'm not there, and I'm like I don't really have, my family doesn't have a house, you know, like I don't have these things, you know, like I don't have a car. My family doesn't have a car, you know? So it's kind of like, I kind of want that for myself. And it seems like where I want out of myself seems like a lot of work because I'm building it from sand, you know, I'm like everything's still like first level. It's not second level yet.
You getting there, you know, you definitely getting there.
Yeah.
You're making great strides. Considering where we come from, yeah, you definitely making great strides. Yeah. For sure. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Definitely. And I agree, like I'm in the same boat where I don't really come from much. And not to say that it's a bad thing. It's just more motivation to like, I'm outside every day. Try to figure it out. You know, I'm not going to be in the crib. I'm in sunny California for a reason. Even when it's raining out in this bitch, I'm outside. You know, generating that energy. I want to retire my mom. That's a goal of mine. It's like, I don't want my mom to have to work no more. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure I set my brothers up so that they don't got to work for nobody. I could just give them, I could start a business for them, whatever they want to do. They want to sell sneakers. They want to make a YouTube channel. They want to, whatever you want to do. Got you. You want to be a barber? I got you. Like, for real though. Yeah, just being able to be a resource for the people that you love, be a point of access for them first and foremost, and then for yourself first and foremost for yourself, and then for them. You know what I mean? That's definitely where the people that are around you should be at mentally. You know? No, we're not staying stagnant. As long as we're doing better than we were doing last year, good. That means we're moving forward. That means we're progressing. That means we're getting better with time. We're learning our lessons and we're correcting our mistakes little by little. So,
yeah, just little by little.
Little by little, brick by brick. So, that being said, this has been another episode of Gold Miners Presents. And, you know, we had the pleasure of having TISH CARDOVA.
Hello.
Yeah. Anything you want to say on the closing?
I mean, just follow your heart. And I think it knows you more than you know yourself. And listen to your intuition because it will protect you more than you can protect yourself. Yeah.
That's some golden information right there. You know what I'm saying? Some golden. Yeah.
So funny.
We out.
Hey, I get my hands dirty. I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty. I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty. I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty. I get my nose clean. I wake up in the morning, hit the blunt. Think about bills and fuck Trump. Gotta be real about what you want. Niggas ain't real, that's just the front. Peace to my people that's locked in the cage. Peace to my people who can't catch a break. Working too hard for the minimum wage. Knowing one day that it's all about to change, so I grind. Hey, I'll get mine. Live out the city to get right. Nothing is given in this life. Learn a little lessons to live to twice. Counting my blessings, I dodge correction, or miss some corrections. I'm steady collecting that karma. Honor and loyalty stronger than bulletproof armor. That's word to my mama. Niggas will rather see you down and pick you up. Letting you haven't been given a fuck. Situation got me stuck. Sick and tired of being sick and tired. Uninspired by lies who fantasize. Underground king before I die. And they gon' crown me king before I die. Yeah. Why you tryna clip my wings before I fly? And my real is fortified, way too deep to hold aside. Tell me now, what would you do to survive? I swear I see nothing but bitch in your eyes. So I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. Lately I've been blowing trees and letting them seeds and playing the whole field. Lately I've been getting high on balance, popping them blue and them red pills. Serving these verses like meals. Hope you got purses, your deal. For the demons, the doubt and the daughters, I'm lawless, I won't without fear. I just wanna roll in peace. My aura is violence, I kill you with silence. Science stuck in the silence, staring at habits of habits. Selling your soul so attractive. Give me some answers, fuck is you saying? I'm sitting on gold, cause I'm praising my savings. Give me some praise or praise me, this world's a gift and this word to the guys out in Haiti. Look what you made me a problem, a hole in the condom, condemning, forgotten. The system is rotten. I wait on my options, a better and private. This shit is no different. I come out of powder, I'm running the loose, like I'm Sonic. Everything given, they promise. Why do you think I'm so modest? I swear I'm just keeping it honest. I swear I'm just keeping it honest. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean. I get my hands dirty, I get my nose clean.